Lost Tapes is a show that aired on Animal Planet back in 2008, and it was awesome! Imagine a 30-minute found footage movie covering a different monster every week. It aired for 3 seasons and a total of 34 episodes, so they had to dig pretty deep into cryptozoology to find new monsters each and every week. Everything from cave demons to aliens, devil monkeys to serpent gods, and of course, Bigfoot. There are 3 episodes that I would say feature the big guy. So, let's check them out.
Lost Tapes. Bigfoot.
Season 1, Episode 2 is simply titled Bigfoot. They wasted no time getting to him. It opens up with Grover Krantz telling us a little bit about what a Bigfoot is, in case you didn't know. They discuss the different names and even play a very famous 911 call.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
Then it cuts to Rachel Glenn, working out in the field to find poachers. This is how Lost Tapes works. They show you a little bit of a fictional story, and then some specialists talk about the real-life reports.
These are her tapes.
So, anyway, Rachel's putting up trail cams, and she hears a gunshot in the distance. It ends up being the poachers hunting black bear. These guys are the real bad guys of the story. They even manage to get Rachel caught in a trap. Luckily, she's able to get out, but if the poachers caught up to her, well, let's just say you don't want to be caught by these guys. Back to Rachel, who sets off more traps, this time on purpose, and even captures something on the trail cam. But she thinks it's just one of the poachers. She takes note of what she did that day, and she also says that it was eerily quiet in the woods. The next day, she finds one of the trail cams destroyed, but it was 9 feet up in a tree, and she finds some fur. This wasn't the poachers.
What the hell?
She hears a scream and takes off running towards the sound. She ends up finding a cave, and inside is the trail cam and some more fur, which she sends to the lab to get analyzed. Back to Grover Krantz, who talks about Gigantopithecus, a literal giant that lived 350,000 years ago. He talks about the similarities this creature has to Bigfoot, and how the elusive cryptid's existence isn't so unlikely. The sample comes back, not as bare as she expected, but as a primate. Also, her boss tells her that the poachers in the area are getting hostile, and he needs to get her out of there. So he's sending in a team, but it'll be 36 hours until they can get in. As soon as she disconnects from him, someone pounds on the door, and she opens it up to see a note. Who's watching you? That wasn't written by Bigfoot. On the final day alone, she actually manages to sneak up on the poachers and get their camera. It turns out that they've been filming her the whole time she's been out there. Creepy. That night, she's doing her last vlog when the poachers come back. She gets her gun ready, but they aren't backing down. And then, all of a sudden, she hears screams outside. The men are under attack. But from what? When things settle down, Rachel goes outside, only to find the poachers dead in their own traps. But something had to put them there, right? Next is Season 2, Episode 3, Southern Sasquatch. This time featuring, yep, you guessed it, the Fouke Monster. The specialist this time is Lauren Coleman, and he sets the mood for the rest of the episode. He talks about the possibility of this creature living in the woods along Boggy Creek, and how reports from the animal have been much more violent than some of the other Bigfoot sightings. For the story part of this episode, we have Matthew Barton out hunting with his future brother-in-laws, Levi and Corbin Knox. Matt has never fired a gun before, but he isn't about to miss out on a chance to get closer to his fiance's brothers, so he tags along. The Knox family comes to this land every year to hunt deer, and so far, they've had a great time.
These are their tapes.
Back to Coleman, who talks about the Ford family's encounter and how the creature reached through the screen door of their house and then they scared it away. Later on, it came back and tossed the husband to the ground, again mentioning how this creature is aggressive. The guys see something in the distance, and without even checking to see what it is, they shoot at it. Remind me never to wander off on my own when these guys are hunting. Anyway, by the time they get down there, whatever they shot is gone. But they did take off a hunk of its flesh, and it smells really bad. Being that it's Matt's first time hunting, the brothers decide to mess with him a little bit, telling him that they're switching from hunting deer to snipe, which, if you don't know, isn't a real animal. They tell him that they'll go into the woods and flush out the snipe. All he has to do is cluck like a chicken to draw them in. Of course, he falls for it. While the guys are up on the ridge making fun of Matt, they see something big come out of the woods.
Holy, what the hell is that?
They fire at it. Again, these guys shoot first and ask questions later. What if they hit Matt? Anyway, by the time they get down there, the creature and Matt are both missing. Only a large footprint is left behind.
See nothing like that.
You can't talk about the Falk monster and not bring up the legend of Boggy Creek. They show clips from the movie, talk about how it made so much money that they made 2 sequels, and how it was an inspiration to movies today, like the Blair Witch Project. So now the brothers are out looking for Matt, and it doesn't take long for them to get attacked too. First, it's Levi who's taken, and Corbin goes running, right into Matt. Yeah, he's still alive. He's just been hiding. They run around a little bit, find Levi dead in a tree. Corbin joins his brother in the afterlife not so long after, and Matt tries to get to the safety of a tree stand, but the rope has been cut, and he can't reach it. Not long after that, Matt becomes the Falk monster's most recent victim. The final Bigfoot story comes from Season 3, Episode 6. Got any guesses? Well, we did the Pacific Northwest, and we did the South. What's left but the Himalayas and the Yeti? This time, some billionaire got himself killed while climbing up a mountain. But before he died, he called in for help, reporting that his teammates have all been killed and something huge is stalking his camp. 3 years later, they find his remains and ship him back to the United States, along with a major discovery. But what that is exactly is kept under wraps until a press conference in a few days. But 2 journalists get a chance to take a sneak peek before the event. Jared Slate and Alex Turner break into the cargo ship by bribing the dock worker, Newhouse.
These are their tapes.
Now they talk to some more specialists, Joe Nickel and Linda Godfrey, about the abominable snowman, which is nothing new. Large, hairy hominid living in the snowy mountains. Although most people think the creature is all white, reports have him as brown, just like a normal Bigfoot. They talk about how, for the locals, the creature is part of their culture, and you can't talk about the Himalayas without bringing up the Yeti. The group now goes into cold storage and finds some dead rats that have been ripped apart. Not a very good sign. They open a crate thinking it's the billionaire's remains, but nope, it's just some fruit. But then a body falls down from the ceiling. It's another dock worker. But what happened? They also see a large crate labeled biological specimen. But whatever was inside is broken out and is now in the room with them. More talk about the undiscovered primate and how just recently we discovered a new species of lemur. So there's hope of finding something bigger. They also talk about how the rough, snowy environment would be the perfect place for such a creature to hide. A dead body and a broken crate isn't enough for Alex. She wants tangible evidence to report on. But Newhouse has had enough, and he books it out of there, only to be attacked by something big and hairy. Of course, they have to bring up Sir Edmund Hillary and how he was the first to make it to the summit of Mount Everest. And then, 7 years later, he went back. Why? Well, to get definitive proof that a Yeti exists. He managed to get a scalp, but that was all. And it didn't really convince anyone. So Newhouse is attacked, and the reporters go running to help him out. But they're too late. He's not okay, and there is a lot of blood and some big footprints. But Alex still just wants one shot of whatever this is, and then they'll leave. Well, they get it. Just an arm swiping at them, but that's enough. They have some close calls, but in the end, they make it to the main deck. They're so close to a safe exit, but the door is locked. A security guard comes up wondering what they're doing in there, but he doesn't have a key on him. The reporter's luck has run out, and the Yeti gets them both. The press conference that was scheduled to announce the newly found beast was canceled, and the deaths were ruled accidental drowning. And those were the 3 Bigfoot episodes of Lost Tapes. Now, personally, for me, this kind of stuff is right up my alley. I love cheesy found footage, but I can understand if this isn't your thing. The acting is so bad, there's no way around that, and the narrator is way over the top, but that's sort of the appeal to it. I do remember this show when it was new, but I recently rewatched it. You see, when we first brought my daughter home from the hospital, she did not sleep at all. My wife and I were lucky to get 4 hours of sleep a night. Thankfully, that's all over now, but when I was up at 3 a.m. with her, I would turn on Lost Tapes and fall asleep watching it, holding her in my arms. Looking back on it, it wasn't so bad. So, for that reason alone, I recommend it. If you have a baby or just can't sleep at night, look up Lost Tapes and give it a shot. You might learn a thing or two about some cryptids, and at the very least, you can laugh at how cheesy it all is. I give the show, Lost Tapes, 3 blurry Bigfoots out of 4.
Watch now, as the seasoned sniper stalks his prey.
It's actually really good.